welcome into the Locky Top Sports Podcast. Your host, Josh, with Naveen. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen you, a few shows. Your cousin, Big Texas, has been gracing us with his presence. You know, obviously, we always have a great time when Big Texas is here, and I love when he shows up. But, hey, man, it's great to have you back. Looking for your unique perspectives as we close in at the end of the regular season here, going into March Madness, today being the first day of March. And, Kim Palm in the house. Mr. Andrew Kim, he'll be bringing you the stats, the Kim Palm stats, not to be confused with Ken. Yeah, man, it's been a couple weeks since we've had the full throat of, the three of us on the show. And last but not least, we're gonna bring in a guy because of some of the things that we're going to talk about, discuss in today's episode. Like I talked about earlier, going into March Madness, but it is one of our fan favorites, Chase Cox, also known as Sir Big Spur. We're going to bring him in. Chase, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, bud. Thanks for having me.
What's up, Chase?
What's up, Andy?
All right. So I guess we're going to get it started off. We're going to kind of recap a little bit of the Auburn game. I know we did a reaction, but Naveen, you weren't with us the other night. So walk me through what you saw against the Tigers the other night. And what do you think that does for Tennessee going forward as we close out league play?
I think Dalton put the cape back on. He looked like Superman, Batman, all the men back there. We fought we fought pretty hard against a pretty difficult opponent, and we got there. This was a high scoring close game, like the one type of game that we haven't really played yet this year. Really outstanding performance by Dalton, putting the league on notice, putting SEC on notice, putting fucking Edey on notice. Fuck that guy.
There we go.
Strong performance by Dalton Knecht, man.
All right, so Andy, we've kind of talked about that, but I brought Chase on here tonight, so we're going to talk about a lot of things. And Devin just kind of brought up one of the biggest things that I really want Chase's opine on with the close of the regular season, and then the performance that we've consistently seen from Dalton Knecht, and kind of compare that with where Chase is a non-Tennessee guy, and just you're a big South Carolina fan, but you like SEC sports writ large. Where do you see Dalton Knecht in the conversation for not only SEC Player of the Year? We know, I think he's kind of got that locked up. Unless he just lays an egg in the last three. But let's talk about Zach Edey. I mean, I think he's just a freak of nature. He's just a post player for Purdue that he hasn't hit a shot, I think, more than like 3 times outside of 11 feet away from the basket. So Dalton Knecht's obviously a all-around player. He can score at all 3 levels. So what do you think? Do you think that the national media has given Dalton a bad shake against Zach Edey?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Here's the problem. Zach Edey's riding away from last year, and he's not disappointing this year. So it's hard to overcome a guy that's already at number 1. And if you're going to take out number 1, you've got to beat him, and then you've got to over-exceed beating him. I truly think Knecht is just a phenomenal player, and he's had a great year. I don't think he's outdone him. I don't think he's outdone Edey to a degree, but I also say this. As a non-Tennessee guy, just watching SEC ball and enjoying the SEC as a whole because it's the SEC, I don't think Tennessee's a top 20 team in the country without Dalton Knecht this year. So
I completely agree.
For him to be able to carry Tennessee's team in that way, and I mean, even whenever Tennessee's losing, he's dropping 30 because he realizes nobody else has got my back, so he's got to run it. I think that speaks volumes to who he is. But I also think that the problem with Knecht is you also got, like Mark Sears at Bama. He might be the best point guard in the country.
We don't want to talk about Mark Sears right yet.
I know that. And listen, I'm a Carolina man. Auburn kiss or Alabama. Alabama kiss my ass. But what I'm saying is, it sucks because my man is over there playing in the Big Ten, and name me 3 more guys in the Big Ten that might be up for this award. You can't. So it's the same thing in basketball this year as it is in football. Literally every year that we've all been alive. Whenever you've got 15 guys fist fighting for number 1, and then you've got a guy over here that's just punching ghosts in the face, obviously he looks the best against them. But when you come over here in the SEC, Mark Sears is a beast. He might be the best point guard in the country. And so it takes a little bit of shine away from you. And I think Knecht will get way more notoriety this year. And I think the SEC as a whole in play would get more notoriety if it wasn't for Zach Edey still being in college. And the fact that he's not in the NBA right now is just crazy to me. I thought he was going to go last year, but I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, for me though, and Andy, I want to get your take on this as well. I think Zach Edey, he's just overinflated, man. He's just he's a post player. He doesn't, again, like I mentioned before, he doesn't hit too many shots outside of 11 feet. I think we have a graphic here we can pull up in a little bit. But this guy, he shoots so many free throws. Like that's where the majority of his points comes from. And being the Naismith Player of the Year last year, like he's getting the LeBron treatment. He's just getting free whistles all the time. And I mean, Naveen, you and Andrew both saw him live. How impressed were you with Zach Edey? Honestly, Andrew, let me get your take on that.
Yeah. So again, I completely agree with your takes, Chase and Josh. For Edey to really drop out of the conversation, like he needs to have like bad games, or there needs to be some like competition that takes away from the spotlight. But he's just cruising in the Big Ten, beating up nobodies and getting all the foul calls. And again, like you can't hate on the guy for producing the numbers, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, Player of the Year conversation is for who had the best stats versus who is actually the best player. Same goes for NBA. Shaq's only won one MVP all his life. Same for Kobe. Like, Jordan and LeBron only winning like 4 or 5 times. Like you're telling me, they weren't the best in the years that, they didn't win the MVP, but, it always goes back to what kind of statistics do you put up? And I think, Knecht going against the Alabamas and the Auburns and South Carolina, Mississippi State, the tougher defenses, also having played a tougher schedule with playing Kansas, Purdue and Tennessee kind of equal out because they played each other, but playing North Carolina. So I think there was a little bit of that like depreciation in terms of the stats. Josh, you brought up a good point about the shots and again, like scoring and shooting is only part of the discussion, but
look at
this
this
kind of shows
this guy scores at all 3 levels, man.
Yeah, and then we can definitely say that Dalton is going to be a better NBA player than Zach Edey. I think
he's a better college player. He's a better college player, man. Like, listen, Naveen's got to have my back. You got to have my back on this, guys. If Charles Woodson could unseat Peyton Manning for the Heisman Trophy, and when Peyton should have won it, right? We need that to happen this year with Dalton Knecht.
Get out!
Just because the Big Ten, right, is getting the daddy's treatment from the NCAA. Listen, Dalton Knecht is this year's version of Charles Woodson. He needs to unseat the media favorite and win Naismith Player of the Year.
Yeah,
don't do that. T. Martin was better than Peyton Manning. Don't even do it. T. Martin was a better college player in Tennessee. Check the ring. Check the ring.
Naveen, what are your thoughts? Do you think there's some good parallels there?
I think that's a decent comparison, but I think when you have to make a tough decision like this, people are going to go back to the head-to-head, and Tennessee lost. and Dalton had 16 points versus.
Neutral side. Yeah, Hawaii. It's okay.
But all things equal, people will go to things like a head-to-head game. We lost. He had 16 points versus Edey's 23. The white guy crushed our white guy. Like Fletcher Lawyer had 27 points versus Dalton's 16. So those type of things shouldn't matter, but they do. But again, like, I don't know.
Stats don't
It's just
lie,
an
bro.
easy question.
Look at this. Look at this graph. It doesn't lie.
Question. But like, dude, is like, not to take the contrarian point here, but looks like this guy knows that he's 7'5".
Well, Edey's not getting the ball at the top of the key either.
It's such a soft take.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
Look at Shaq. Shaq is the greatest center of all time. Don't want to hear nothing else about it. They can be like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Not a chance. Shaq didn't get it.
You won't hear any back and forth with me with Shaq. Shaq's the best. Yes.
Look at Shaq. And then look at somebody like JJ Redick. Is JJ Redick better than Shaq? Absolutely not. But JJ Redick, it looks the same because JJ got at the top of the key. And my man shoot a three. Shaq is going to go straight down, and then Kobe's going to push it to him, and then he's just going to jaw right in your mouth.
Now, real quick, you got to listen to this, Chase. Like, you're comparing Shaq to JJ Redick. What we're talking about is Shaq to Kobe, right? Because I'm telling you, yes, I'm telling you, DK is a three. Yes, yes.
I mean, if you're saying Zach Edey is Shaq, then you got to give
Shaq,
Kobe.
Yes. Exactly.
Because you're making the comparison. That's a big.
You're making the comparison here. All right. Listen.
There's two people you don't compare, and that's Jordan and Kobe. The fact that you would even say Kobe and connect in the same sentence, I should drive the Fayetteville, kick you right in the ass.
I mean, you're the one who brought up Shaq and Edey in the same sentence. I don't know.
Size.
No.
He's 7'5".
Position, and size. Dalton and Kobe, same size, same position.
All right, I'll just wrap this up.
In high school and one went to college. All right.
Yeah. I'll just wrap this up by saying Levine's right. Like, this guy knows he's 7'4" and he's taking advantage of it. And you can't hate the fact that he's putting up numbers. And I do truly think that he's gonna win the Player of the Year. It's just locked at this point, unfortunately, for Dalton. But that being said, Dalton Knecht's gonna be the higher draft pick. He's gonna be the better NBA player. Zach Edey's gonna turn out to be like Jahlil Okafor or Taco
Zach
Fall.
Edey's gonna be fucking selling insurance in 2 years.
He might go play in China. That's he can still play pro ball.
But I'm telling you right now, Dalton Knecht, 3-level scorer. Edey, he's 7'4". He shoots 9 for 36, 25%, 11 feet away from the basket for his entire career. One gets 21.2% of his points from the free throw line. One gets 32.3% of his points from the free throw line. Dalton Knecht is the more skilled basketball player. End of story. Next slide. Let's go. Next topic.
You got my blood pressure so damn high right now. You're talking about Dalton Knecht and Kobe in the same sentence.
You're comparing that moron Zach Edey.
And you compared legendary status. Kobe Bryant could have been 5'10" and still would have been one of the greatest of all time. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Shaq is one of the greatest. He is the greatest center of all time.
Dalton Knecht, if he died and we believed in reincarnation, he wouldn't even be worthy of Kobe Bryant's jockstrap. Don't do that. Just because you went to Tennessee, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just looking at it objectively. Based on the conditions of the argument that you presented, Chase, this is where we're at. That's the comparison.
I mean, hey, if you're going to bring Shaq, the greatest center, the most dominant ever, the Shaqtus, the big Aristotle into the conversation.
Big Aristotle, baby.
Everybody else, Greg Odom, same thing at Ohio State. You did the same thing. I'm taller, pass it to me, yoink in your mouth. That's it.
No, exactly. All right. So moving on to the next topic, and we'll get to some of like South Carolina related stuff in a little bit too. But first starting with
He was done,
Tennessee and Bama, and unfortunately, that's the bigger game. But we'll get to that.
Roll
So,
damn
all right.
Tide. Yeah,
let's
here we go.
start with the with our guest, Chase. So line just dropped. It's Alabama -2.5 at home. What do you think is gonna happen?
I think here's what I think. I think all of the argument that we're getting here with Dalton, Knecht, and all that, just put it to bed after this game. You're gonna get to see Sears. You're gonna get to see Knecht. You're gonna see how they lead their teams. Again, I mean, and at the end, this is the end of the year SEC basketball game. It's when it matters. We're coming up on the tournament. We're coming up on March Madness. When guys are great, you can be great all year long. This is whenever it starts counting. It's the same way with football. It's November football. It's March, February, late February basketball. You got one on one side, one on the other. I truly, it's hard for me to judge, and all y'all are Tennessee guys, but it's hard for me to judge Tennessee basketball because
Very loosely.
I know what I'm going to get with one guy on the team. That's what I know. I know one guy, day in and day out, 96% of the time, he's going to go in, he's going to play hard, and he's going to show on the scoreboard. Alabama has kind of just rode upwards throughout the whole year. They've not dropped hard and then picked back up. It's just been kind of a steady incline, drop here, pick back up. I don't know. I think Tennessee wins the game against Alabama. But I think it's going to come down to two players. I think it's just going to be which player from Sears or Knecht, whichever one shows up the most and the team rallies behind them the most, because I truly, without Sears on Alabama and Tennessee with Knecht, I don't think this is a ball game at all anybody would watch. So I think it is literally these two are lead singers, and we're here for lead singer, and hopefully the backup dancers are good on soprano. That's what we're hoping for in this ball game.
Thank you. What about you, Josh?
Oh man, I mean, we saw what we did to them back in Knoxville. I think we all know that Alabama has no defense. It's Swiss cheese, as my boy Big Texas likes to say. Defense is Swiss cheese, and I think we're gonna have a good night tomorrow night. It does worry me on the road. We've kind of been Jekyll and Hyde on the road in league play, and even in our non-conference neutral site games this year. We've been very Jekyll and Hyde, but I think the last game against Auburn really showed us, hey, we have an opportunity to win the league conference. We need to go out here and run the table. You know, it's a little bit easier to go 3-0 than it is 4-0. Right. We were talking about 4-0, just a few days ago. Right. But Big Dick Dalton Knecht just flopped it out and said, get on my back. We're going to go down to Tuscaloosa and we're going to take the SEC title. We don't need Florida to beat Alabama next week. We don't need to worry about anybody else taking care of business for us. We're going to control our destiny. And that's exactly what Tennessee is going to do tomorrow night.
Naveen?
Yeah, I think it's really simple. Just got to win out and not leave anything to chance, like Josh was saying, right? The more wins you get, the less bullshit you need to happen. The less wins you get, the more bullshit that needs to happen for things to go your way. Yeah, Jason's right in the sense we're going to see a good matchup in Spears versus Dalton. But honestly, if we play the type of game we're capable of playing at home on the road, then we should win this game by like 7 to 10 points. That's what I'm kind of envisioning. And yeah, I'll be taking Tennessee money line at this game.
All right. Well, same story for me. Just putting up some stats from the last game as well as just a general comparison. So, I know it's pretty hard to see, but what I really want to point out is how all of the defensive stats favor Tennessee. Like you see the numbers in green. The offensive stats, Bama, and we've talked about this all year. Alabama is the number one offense. What it's and when we look at the metrics, they've been at the top of the offensive efficiency for a long time. So Alabama, they like to score, they like to run a fast-paced offense. Tennessee, almost the opposite. Well, their offense isn't as crazy
I would say
bad.
Tennessee's more balanced, don't you, Andrew?
Right,
Wouldn't you say they're more balanced?
Yeah, because Alabama's defense here, you see it, they're ranked in the triple digits here. They're the number 100 defense in the country. So as much as they score, they also give up a lot of points. It kind of reminds me of the Houston Rockets back in the James Harden days. Or Phoenix Suns, right, with Steve Nash, 7 seconds or less, just can't win when the tempo slows down. And that brings me to this graphic, which I stole from Ryan Hammer 09 on Twitter /Instagram. And what he likes to do is he plots the ratings and pace on the same graph. And what this shows us is obviously you want to find the adjusted ratings that are high. So right is good, and up. But the thing is that he puts pace as the x-axis. So, what does that mean? The teams that we see on the right are the fast tempo, fast playing teams. Teams that we see on the left are the slow tempo. Those are the take 25 seconds every shot clock type of team. And, just kind of like a empirical evidence, but you kind of want to be in the middle-ish because you want you want to kind of show that you can play high tempo, slow tempo, and that's what this graph is supposed to represent. So ideally, you want to be here at the top, middle top to the right top, but not too far. And what he likes to do is he draws this trapezoid, and he didn't just do this year. He's been doing this for quite some time. And what this shows is there are about 10 to 12 teams this year that's quote unquote a contender. It's Houston, UConn, Baylor, Duke, Iowa State, Purdue,
Creighton,
Tennessee, Auburn,
and
then just outside of that, so South Carolina's thing is that their efficiency rating isn't as high.
Really hard.
But again,
I'm trying to see them, Andy. I'm squinting really hard. I don't see those scrubs anywhere. Where are they at?
We're in the
they're
jumble.
right on the left side around just above the x-exit, above UCLA. You see there?
Josh.
Oh, yeah. I see him.
Josh, if you look to the left where the team that upsets top 5 teams, right there on the left, you see it?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, and funny enough, this actually bodes well for South Carolina in some sense, because that's why some teams struggle against South Carolina, because they slow it down, they control the boards, offensive rebounds, they just try to grab more possessions and take more time, and it slows the tempo down, and they excel, right? And what this graph shows ultimately is that Alabama, they're too much on the right. They play fast, but they struggle when they play against teams that actually plays defense. And we saw that against Auburn. We saw that against Tennessee. And I ultimately think that, based on what we saw, I mean, Tennessee does struggle hard on the road, but, give me the balanced team with the top 5 defense and like a top 20 offense over number 1 offense with the top 100 defense. So, I'm going to say Tennessee wins. The spread is kind of weird to me. I was surprised to see the plus 2.5 for Tennessee. So, TBD, but ultimately I do think, I'm going to have to go with the analytics and numbers. Give me Tennessee money line. Maybe I'll bet some money on alt spread, Tennessee minus 2.5 or some stupid shit like that.
Naveen, give it to me, baby. Let me hear it.
Oh, I thought I summarized it, but yeah, I'm going to be taking Tennessee money line, man. Like, I think that it's going to be pretty easy going for them, unless we get a weird performance by Dalton. I'm just trying to think about like what could happen that could really mess us up. Some kind of weird performance by Dalton. But that's not really been typical of the last like 10 games or so. I think we got Zakai going well. Edey is playing like a 7-footer again. So that's that. We're not like asking where's Jonas.
He just needs to score 10 points.
Yeah, he needs to score 10 points, right? What was it, 16-1 when he scored 10 points? So just got to make sure that that's clicking, and we should be good, man.
Cool. So Naveen, while you got the floor, why don't you just walk us through, including Bama, what is the record, the last 3 games going against Bama, South Carolina, and Kentucky? And then you can pass it off to Chase after that for some spicy
Oh
picks.
yeah.
Okay, so I think
I wouldn't.
I think we're gonna go 2-1.
I
And
agree.
the team that we're gonna lose
2-1.
to, yeah, the team we're gonna lose to is not Alabama. It's not South Carolina. I think it's Kentucky. I think
Boo.
Just for the record, guys, remember Naveen said Kentucky was a mortgage when they first played. So, take it with a grain of salt.
Take it exactly. A
Yeah,
huge
so-
grain.
yeah, those are my picks for the next.
Kosher salt, big grain.
All right, Chase. Obviously, Tennessee's going to beat Bama. You already gave us that prediction. Then we travel down to the Colonial Life Center there in Columbia, South Carolina, and face the Gamecocks on the road. So, what are your thoughts?
It's the same thoughts whenever we went to Rocky Top and smoked you, bud. It's gonna be the same. Listen, the South Carolina team you're gonna play Wednesday is even better than the one you played the first time. And the first time we done it, it was, well, this guy should have scored 10. He just needed 10. Dude, Knecht was on that night. Like, Tennessee didn't play a horrible game that night. They just couldn't push through South Carolina's defense. And in all honesty, I think that's still Tennessee's Achilles heel. They just went and played other people. I mean, it's going to be the same results. I think Tennessee goes 2-1 in the end right here. I think you mollywop Kentucky, to be honest with you. I think you're going to win your next game. You're going to lose to South Carolina. You can write it down. Y'all like to do the sports bets. I'm going to tell you right now, all the sports bets going to tell you, take Tennessee, just like they did the last time. And then everybody got on here, and for some reason, everybody had sad faces. It was like we was in first grade again, and I'm the only good kid. Everybody had sad faces, and I'm up here happy. So I'm telling you what it's going to be. South Carolina has not got worse since that game. They're getting better. Y'all ain't saw it. We dropped 2 games right there, and everybody's like, well, they lost to 1 point to LSU and da-da-da-da. We had like 4 dudes that weren't playing. I'm trying to tell you, if you enjoy money, and maybe some people don't, you know what I mean? This ain't what you want. Tennessee is going to go 2-1, which I'm not mad about, and I hope y'all throttle Kentucky. I hate Kentucky. I hate them. I hate y'all more during football season, but during basketball season, I hope Kentucky has a stroke going on the left side decently. But I'm trying to tell you, Tennessee's 2-1. South Carolina wins at Colonial, and then you'll go back and you're going to absolutely throttle Kentucky. You're going to be mad. Enjoy the loss to South Carolina because it's going to be a motivation to get y'all through the tournament. They're going to be like, nobody appreciates South Carolina. We lose these clubs twice. Nobody respects us. And then y'all can go out there and y'all going to be like, so good in the tournament. Promise you don't want to finish 3-0. Finish 3-0, you guys are going to ride a high, and you're going to lose in game 2 in the tournament. So just take you 2-1. Enjoy getting that money back because you'll cash in on South Carolina because still nobody's respecting us. You look at the odds and Kim won or whoever you like, dude.
We now subscribe to Kim Palm.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Well,
Palm.
Palm's already been wrong. Our last 8 games, he said we win the last 2. Well, we passed that by 2 more games, bud. So just tell him to bet on the Lakers or something because he's not doing it over here in South Carolina because he is trash.
Okay, well, I mean that's definitely the take that I thought Chase was going to have. I'll tell you, it's hard to go against what Naveen and Chase are saying, 2-1. But I think Tennessee's going to run the table and go 3-0.
Your brother-in-law said this before the last podcast. Let me remind you. He said this last time, and then what happened, bud?
And this is not me. This is not me being an eternal optimist. I think if you know who I am, I'm probably the biggest pessimistic when it comes to Tennessee basketball. But I will tell you, as much as South Carolina has every opportunity to have gotten to be a better team, so has Tennessee. And again, not trying to go back to transitive properties, but I mean, one of the most recent games I watched South Carolina play was against Auburn. And
get out. They shot like 86%.
South Carolina lost 61-101 to the
It was
team that
awful.
we just beat down last week. So
they shot like 87% from the field. What do you
we're gonna do the same damn thing. We're gonna shoot 87%.
Yes.
Just like Dalton Knecht put it in freaking Jemai Broom's freaking eye all night long. You let that lanky fuck go off on y'all. That ain't gonna happen against Tennessee. We're
Bet
gonna lose
100,
to you guys.
Bet 100 y'all shoot 86%. Bet 1,000.
I'm not gonna put 100 on 86 or 87%. But what I'm gonna tell you, I would put 100 on is Tennessee's gonna come down there and whoop that ass.
Good luck, bud. We've already done this once. So you know what? Let's do it again. Do it again.
Objectively played our worst game of the season against you guys.
Absolutely. So that's what everybody says when they lose to us 22 times this year. Everybody says the exact same thing. We lose 22 times. Well, we played our worst game against South Carolina. We can't play 23, 24 games against the exact worst team's game all year long. At some point, you gotta be like, hey,
yeah, I think we're gonna make hay the last 3 weeks, or excuse me, the last 3 games going into the last 2 weeks of the season. We probably won't make it past the semifinals in the SEC tournament because I just don't think we care about it. But that's just where I'm at. I think regular season Rick is going to get it done and get us a regular season SEC title. We run it. Andrew, thoughts on the last 3, brother?
Well, since Chase and Devin nicely, conveniently, the left side of the screen took the 2-1 route, I'll just kind of go with Josh. I am on Lucky Top Pod wearing a Lucky Top shirt. I'll go 3-0.
Let's go.
And you bring up a really good point, Chase. Tennessee and Josh just now. The regular season Rick, full on display. I can totally see it. They're gonna ride the high, go 3-0. And SEC tournament, they'll probably play against one of the physical teams, and probably losing the quarterfinals, going to the tournament, and the famous Rick Barnes every year, the second round or Sweet 16. Obviously, as a fan, I don't want to see that, but I can totally see that scenario playing out. Just the good old faithful. That being said, one funny thing I wanted to bring up, and listeners, you guys remember Naveen bringing up the fact that Minnesota covers absurd amount of times. Like their ATS record is 24-4. If you just blindly pick Minnesota, whatever the line is, you would have won 20 more times than you'd have lost at like 86% of the time. Absurd. South Carolina, not too far behind, 71%, 20-8 against the spread. So, Gamecocks typically, and I think Chase brought up a good point, are they respected? No, because every Vegas line they're given, they keep crushing it. So there's that. But one flip side of it is most of the crushing has been done as an away underdog. So I think maybe the team, just kind of like, because there's no superstar, whatever the reason is, they just kind of get these like weird lines. They keep crushing it. Now, as a home team and as a home favorite, how do they do? Not so great, actually. Like, and then perhaps it's because they're not usually designated as a favorite. Now, I'll go around the table and ask, if Tennessee beats Alabama, I can totally see this line being like a close to pick'em, or like a Tennessee -1.5. If Tennessee loses to Alabama, I'm sure South Carolina would be the favorite, just at home and given the matchup earlier. But in either case, I do think this is where Vegas will actually truly try to evaluate South Carolina and where the line should be. But again, I'm going with the 3-0 team 3-0 here. So give me 3-0. Tennessee locks up the number 1 seed. Now, let me go around the room and ask, if Tennessee beats Alabama, what is the spread gonna be come Wednesday, I think, against South Carolina? Josh?
4.5.
4.5 Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah.
Chase?
I just want to add one point to what Josh said, that Tennessee's not going to care about the SEC tournament. They're going to go 3-0 and then die in the semifinals. Tennessee's not good enough not to care about the SEC tournament, just to let you know. This is a team that needs to go 2-1. I'm trying to tell you, they need a loss right before the tournament to get some motivation. I saw your jaw move. Don't do that, Josh. You ready to go? I'm trying to tell you, you need some motivation before you get in that tournament. South Carolina's not a team that needs motivation because they're hated on all levels of college basketball and are still right now. The spread will be Tennessee by 5.5 if they beat Alabama.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You think I'm going to pick us to be an up dog? No,
Well,
we're underdogs all day, all day.
Let me tell you, the next time South Carolina wins a SEC title will be the first time.
That's a fact. And Tennessee will continue to think this 1997 will continue.
We won our last SEC title 2 years ago.
And then what'd y'all do with it?
Put it
Hung
in
it
our
up,
trophy
hung the
case.
banner.
Put it in our fucking
Something
trophy
that you
case.
guys don't know
Something
about.
You guys can't fucking do.
Nobody cares about it. It's basketball season. It's March Madness. What'd you do after that? Nobody cares about a banner in February, bro. What'd you do in March?
Okay, to be fair, I guess. Well,
Yeah,
you
and that is
they got a
the
Final Four. South
yeah,
Carolina is a
and
Final
that
Four.
is that is
We went to
the
the
number
Final
one
Four.
thing that always comes back is we've not made a Final Four.
The thing is in basketball, this is what this kind of hurts you in basketball. The tournament stuff is good. It's fun. But Duke and North Carolina do it every year. Put the headphones back on, Josh. The Duke and North Carolina do it every year. They're one of the best. The ACC is one of the best, hands down, since the beginning of basketball. You can perform. Duke has won multiple ACC championships and then do nothing in the tournament. North Carolina has the same. If you're not hanging the banner at the end of March Madness,
Easy.
What
South
did you
Carolina,
really
a South
do?
Carolina fan cannot come on this show
yes, I
and
can.
besmirch
Yes, I
the
can.
blue bloods of Duke and North
Yes, I can.
Carolina, especially when we have North Carolina and Devin up here to defend the honor of the Tar Heels, right? So there's a lot more banners in in Chapel Hill than there is
Oh God.
in
Oh,
South
God.
Carolina.
Kick this guy out.
What is that? What is that? Do we have a
Right. Yeah, no wonder he brought up JJ Redick earlier against comparison. He probably prayed to JJ Redick growing up.
Oh my God, dude.
Holy
I'm gonna mute
shit.
him real quick. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Like I knew Chase was baby shit soft, but when he pulls out a fucking Duke jersey, that all but affirmed everything that I thought.
Say whatever you want to, bud. Krzyzewski was the shit, and I loved him. And if you're a true sports fan, also a true Kobe's fan, Josh, you know that he loves Krzyzewski. Krzyzewski was the man. He was at a youth camp when I was a kid. Told me how to bounce fast.
Krzyzewski. Who the fuck
Mike
is that?
Mike Krzyzewski.
Mike Krzyzewski?
Oh, the guy who lost the last game at home to North Carolina and
Tar
also
Heels.
lost his final game
Give it
ever in Final Four.
Hey.
That's the Coach K that I remember.
Hey, North Carolina Devin, pipe in. Pipe in.
Yeah.
Banners and
On your show? Come on.
Tap in, Devin.
Dude, I don't know. We see it every year. UNC crushes Duke. But that's fine. I want to answer the question though. I think it's gonna be Tennessee -6 at South Carolina.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah, I think
I did
so.
not expect that, Naveen.
Yeah.
Because last time it was Tennessee by 12, right? So
Gotta cut it.
I'm shifting you guys back 6 points for being at home. So Tennessee -6. That's the way I did it.
Is that a lock of the week?
Could be, yeah. Could be.
I would probably take South Carolina there. I think Cox cover it. Funny enough, Chase, I gotta tell you a story. Mr. Tarvel or whatever you want to call Naveen.
Volhill.
Naveen, but I actually went to the game that South Carolina clinched their first ever trip to Final Four. It was at MSG, and us being New Yorkers, we walked over to watch the game versus the Gators.
How long
And
ago was this?
2017.
Come on,
2017.
South Carolina
Yes,
fan.
yes, we had
He's a Duke fan. Sorry, he wouldn't know anything about his program.
But yeah, so it was pretty cool because obviously as a Tennessee fan, I just was like, all right, well, I mean, like there were times where Spurrier was at South Carolina and there was that spark a little bit, but at the end of the day, I could not root myself, and I could not tell myself to root for Florida. So Naveen and I both were rooting for South Carolina. I had a great time. The fans were pretty wild.
Getting cocky in there, huh?
Just a fun fact that we've seen the peak of your program, which is pretty funny.
Well, it's good that I saw the peak of y'all's too, because T. Martin was there whenever we were all about 8.5, and Tennessee is still riding. You know what I mean? Every year we're going to win national championship, and then yet we don't. You know what I mean?
Hey! Next year is our year, okay?
And you know what? You might upset Alabama and then get spanked the last 2 weeks and then ruin it again.
But you're right.
I'm happy for you guys.
Way, so hey,
I'm happy for you guys.
Says I think we should win an SEC championship every year. You don't hear that, but what you do hear in Tennessee is that we're winning the SEC, and then
who do you hear that from?
And then the Tennessee, literally the Vol Nation, Volquest.
Outside of, we aren't VolQuest. So if you want to go listen to people that are paid by the university, we call that state-run radio. If you want to go listen to them, they by all means do it.
Tennessee in general, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't listen. We have stupid fans.
This guy,
too,
listen. I'm very practical. I'm very pragmatic about this. Tennessee does not, in my eyes, have a legitimate shot to win the SEC championship every year. Okay. I'm probably one of the most known Tennessee fans, probably in your friend circle, right, Chase? Like, how many Tennessee fans do you know?
You are the only Tennessee fan that I will associate with, and it's only because we share Army blood, because I can't hear it from nobody else. But the problem is, I'm trying to tell you, brother, South Carolina was in the cellar forever. And I mean, here's the problem.
When did they get out? When did they get out?
I don't know, after we smoked Joe a couple years. But what I'm trying to say is
sure. I'm happy. I'm happy for you guys because you don't have to fucking play us anymore.
Am I lying?
Don't get loud.
Don't get loud. If you lose to one team for 20-some years, you beat them one time and we have a full parade at your house for it, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were, Alabama. But that's what I'm saying. Y'all have Morgan Wallen and Peyton Manning getting drunk and performing halfway naked on the stage in Nashville to celebrate one win. That shows you what's all you need to see, bud. Whenever we beat Tennessee, we didn't have Darius Rucker and Hootie and the Blowfish pop out and just start, all that. You're going too far over the top with all of it. You do expect to win the SEC championship every year. Whenever we get about 2 weeks out, Jeremy Huppel will have like a rosary on his neck, and we'll all have to pay homage to him. And then the schedule will give it to him, and then his offense is too fast and the defense is too slow.
We'll get
to
guys
college
rush
football
the
a
field
little bit.
when you beat Tennessee, right?
Absolutely. So get
We
fucked.
just did.
Yeah. I mean, because you thought there was a
rushed
special
the field against us.
accomplishment.
Oh my God! Throw
Yeah,
a
we beat
parade.
Tennessee, so I'll just leave it at that.
And you had to cheat to do it. All right. So next topic. Let's go to SEC
Oh God!
as a basketball conference this year. Naveen, I want to get your take on this, man. How many teams in the SEC get in to the tournament, and does one of the SEC teams, maybe the champion of the regular season, do they deserve number one seed?
Yeah, so we should be a 1 seed, and I think there's going to be 8 teams. 8 teams in. So
Name
them. I got to go with, obviously, Tennessee, Bama, Auburn. I think it would be maybe Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina. And then I just need a fucking
LSU.
Yeah, so that's where it gets tricky, right? Is it?
What about A&M or Mississippi State?
Yeah, Mississippi State technically better record-ish, but I don't know. I'm more scared to play. I don't know. So either Mississippi State or LSU would be like 7 and 8.
So you're calling eight teams get into the dance?
Yeah.
So, and we're at a range from anywhere from probably like 1 to 9 or 1 to 11.
Yep. And I think that it takes about, if you have more than 19 wins, you can make it from the SEC.
Okay. So out of all the teams in the SEC, I think we have one potential team that could get a 1 seed, right? And that would only be Tennessee, correct?
Yep. I think
that is statistically correct. Even if Bama beats Tennessee and wins out and runs the table, just given their record,
even if they won the conference tournament, they're not getting it.
The conference tournament has never mattered for seeding ever, especially for the SEC tournament, because SEC, for whatever reason, continues to want that Sunday spot.
They need to move it to Saturday. Help the league. I mean, it helped the conference overall.
Yeah, but they don't want to give up that revenue. They don't want to give up that juicy prime time spot that's not contending against other ACC or Big 12 championships going on. Just
nobody's watching ACC this year anyway.
Right, but just generally speaking,
I'm sorry for the Duke and Carolina fans. No offense for the Duke and Carolina fans we have on here tonight. But nobody's watching the fucking ACC tournament this year. It's just not happening. The big dogs are the Big 12 and the SEC. That's it. The Big 10, they have one squad in there that's, it's a dominant team, and Purdue.
People will still watch the ACC that are blue blood basketball fans. You can write that down.
Right.
It's just gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the people that are
if you watch college basketball,
if you watch college basketball, you watch Duke, North Carolina.
You watch Duke.
Well, the North Carolina, no matter what, you have to watch, even if you don't have a take on it. Yeah.
But we're talking about a conference that's scared for kids rushing to court after a win, right? Bunch of pussy willows out there.
They got injured. I mean,
Filipowski?
Oh, did they amputate? Did they have to amputate Filipowski's leg?
I don't know.
Last time Cyclone played,
what's his name again? Flappovich?
Yeah.
For the whole game because he got poked in the eyeball.
Jesus
Let's not
Christ.
get started on that.
Soft.
Let's not get started on fake injuries and softs, because I was like,
I think Coach K would be embarrassed of the flop. Just saying. Hey.
Yeah.
Tennessee, but Scovey didn't play the rest of the game.
Oh, stop it. That's not true. Not true. Andrew. Let me hear your team. How many teams you got in there?
Bro, like
that's
on YouTube.
All right. SEC, I think 7 or 8, and I think that's what most bracketology websites have. Jumping into the big dance. Big 12 with the most teams, 9 teams as it stands today, and based on the projection of how the rest of the season is going to turn out. So similar to Naveen's projections, I think the SEC right now has 6 ranked teams. So they're all getting in, right? Like Tennessee, Bama, South Carolina, Florida, Kentucky, Auburn. And it's just a matter of, is LSU getting in? They're the ones that are kind of on the bubble just because their record is like 15-13. Mississippi State 19-9, Ole Miss 19-9. So I think of those 3 teams, the Mississippi and Louisiana, that region right there, the deep South,
deep.
Yeah, and will those teams do enough to do something good for those poor fellows that have to live down there? So hopefully they get to see their teams in the March Madness, but likely only gonna get 7 teams in, I think. And I do want to say that if Tennessee wins, they deserve to be, I think, the number 1 seed. But unfortunately, if Bama wins, that's not going to happen. And this is just the from team rankings, and just to kind of walk you through the logic here, Tennessee right now at 22 and 6. So they're also predicting that Tennessee goes 2-1 the rest of the way, and I'd imagine that they're sort of taking the Alabama game as a loss, but win versus Kentucky and South Carolina. But even with that, they're like right at 4. And that's even assuming Arizona goes undefeated the rest of the way. So even with Tennessee losing, right? You see here that Tennessee 2026 currently projected win and loss is 24-7. But even with Tennessee dropping a game at Bama, the projected simulation is still putting Tennessee at that last number 1 seed. Now, if they beat Bama, I think they jump UConn and get the 3rd overall seed instead of the 4th overall seed. And you can see on the right here, again, this is the teamrankings.com simulations. The probability of 1 seed, so the top 2 pretty much locked. UConn by like win and loss, they're locked, but we've all been talking about it. They don't play anybody, and that's why their chance of the 1 seed is pretty low. They still have to play, I think, Creighton again at home, right? And Creighton obviously beat them at their home court. So if UConn pulls off the revenge successfully, like I'm sure that'll be the final nail. But if they lose again, they could potentially drop, and I think we could see Purdue, Houston, Tennessee, and Arizona. So that'll be pretty interesting. Again, 1 seed is something that Tennessee's never done, and we all know Rick Barnes' track record in the March Madness. So not getting my hopes up about Tennessee doing something in March Madness. Let's be honest. But if there were a year that it could happen, it's gotta be the year where we have this NBA starter level guy playing. And this type of player doesn't come around often. Like Kentucky, honestly, like they figured out the formula, right? Like Calipari figured out the formula where he appeals to these NBA level players. Hey, come play for me for 1 year, but I know how to get you prepared and drafted as a high lottery pick in the NBA, and he's proven it. Whether his team has success or not, that's a different story. And generally speaking, successful, not as much of a late, but the NBA level talent still line up to go to Kentucky. And because would you guys not do the same, right? If you know that you're capable of going to the NBA, like the best school that can prepare me for is Calipari's Kentucky. So they always have the better talent. Whereas it's not been the case for Tennessee. Like if you look at Tennessee's players over the years, like they're most likely gonna be those 4-year seniors type, even like Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, right, and Chris Lofton, and there comes occasionally some of these NBA prospect level players coming in freshmen as like Kennedy Chandler, but they just never hit that level that we needed. Whereas I do think Dalton Knecht, I mean, he's not a freshman, he's senior because he's a transfer, but to have a player of that caliber, have the guy that's sitting at 2nd in odds to win the National Player of the Year and almost have the SEC Player of the Lock. Like, if we don't get to Final Four this year, like we're never going to, unfortunately. That's how I look at it. And if there's any year that Tennessee was going to advance far into April potentially, not just ended in like first weekend of March Madness. If we can make it to April, it'll be this year. So I think hopefully we can lock up 1 seed here. But if we don't lock up the 1 seed, the current projection heads us in the same bracket as Houston, and I think that's a doable thing.
That's definitely favorable for us. I agree with you, Andy, on a lot of your takes there. So I'm gonna pass it over to Chase so he can close us out on this one. Where do you see how many teams in the league get into the dance, and what are your number 1 seeds overall, Chase?
I think the SEC is going to get 6. I think that's going to be what it is. I don't see LSU. I don't see none of that. I see Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, Auburn, Kentucky, and Florida, and I think that's all they're going to give us.
So you don't think anybody's going to make a run in the tournament to help boost their quad 1 wins?
No, not in the SEC wise. I just don't see it. With the Big Ten, the Pac, the ACC, you always got to do your Cinderella story. George Washington, state of Louisiana, Mud Dogs are going to come out. You've got to have one or two of those teams.
Not the Bourbon Bowl.
You remember Bobby Boucher? I'm just saying. I think that's it. I think that's it. And in all honesty, I think that's all it deserves. I don't think that A&M will do nothing in the tournament. LSU would do nothing in the tournament. Those guys have had here and there spotty SEC luck wins. And I think that's all you're going to see. And I just don't think this year with the tournament, I don't think that anybody else is going to go. And the ACC always reigns supreme in the tournament. So they're going to get where we got an A&M and an LSU. If they got a Wake Forest and a Georgia Tech, those two will slide in before we'll slide two in the tournament in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the treatment that SEC gets in football, right? Like
Exactly.
ACC just proven it over year, and the committee is gonna definitely look at that, just like how SEC teams in football get the benefit of doubt because they've proven it against the tougher competition.
Yeah, but I would say the SEC owns college basketball this year. You know, Big 12. You know, with the Big 12, the ACC.
But the problem with that is
Big 10.
The problem with that is the NCAA is traditional to a sense. So it's like this year, in all honesty, I think the LSU and Texas A&M would beat a lot of the teams that are going to go into the tournament, but they're not going to get that chance because historically in the SEC, it's Florida, Kentucky.
Right.
And you get
it was a top heavy, yeah.
That's it. And if it's Florida and Kentucky, even back in those days, if you check the brackets, the SEC really had nothing else to offer other than Florida and Kentucky. And then we had, you know, Tennessee was always a good team back then. They could push a little bit, but we didn't have it, you know, like traditionally the ACC or something like that has, where you got 4 and 5 teams. And the same way with football. They beat the piss out of each other all year, and then they get to the tournament, we separate them on all sides, and then we get to the Elite Eight, and you got 3 teams from the same conference.
Yeah. Just like how it's gonna look like for college football. So you know that's a good segue into SEC, the powerhouse in college football, always respected.
Tennessee.
And you know we see that in bowl games, and you know just to take you know I think it'll be fun to since we have the guest on the pod, get a quick NCAA college football predictions. Like how is South Carolina gonna do? 8 wins or lower than 8 wins? What do you think? 8-4, 7-5?
No. You can ask
3-9. 3-9.
Yeah, you can suck a whole dick. Listen, I can't give it to you, bud. I can't. Here's the problem this year with South Carolina.
Nico.
Yeah, I know another backup you said about until he got there. But anyways, at South Carolina this year, Spencer Rattler's gone. Mm-hmm. So they said what they want to. That was consistent. That was consistent quarterback play. He did a phenomenal job against
consistently
Tennessee.
Bad. Yep.
Yeah, consistently. That's not what you said when he threw it on you and you were at the ball game. Drove all the way to Columbia. Andrew, you were there for that ass whipping.
I fortunately was not, but Josh did.
I thought you went.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I was in. I don't know what you're talking about. I was in Knoxville when Kamal Hadden. When Kamal Ben Hadden was just pick 6 in it back to the end zone, just doing house calls on you.
And I was in the arena in 1999. Whenever it don't matter, bud.
I'm talking about last year, 23, bro.
Yeah, you're talking about Nico.
Hold that L, big dog. Hold that
Whatever.
L.
You thought Joe Milton was going to be the next resurrection of Jesus, and then y'all held a whole thing whenever y'all played us. Because y'all were like, Hayden, justice for Hayden. He fell on no contact. I mean, tried to juke on an option route and fell down.
Justice for who?
For whatever quarterback you had 2 years ago. Y'all were out here worried about that. We had it all over Instagram. Justice for him. South Carolina, y'all took out the greatest running back of all time in college sports. He
Oh
was
my
Jesus.
God, dude!
And
This is nearly 20
it's
years
the same
ago.
thing.
Give it a rest.
Yeah.
Marcus
Well,
is not that old.
all right. So
I don't
just
know
because
what
this is a prompt, I'm gonna have to
Please
ask. I'm gonna have to force you for an answer. You can't give me. I don't know. What is it? 6-6, 5-7, 7-5.
I would hope that we could win 8 games this year, but
Okay, 8-4.
we got a redshirt freshman quarterback. He shows a ton of promise. I watched him in high school. He's from like 15 minutes from where I live. Great guy, but I don't know how he transfers in college. We got Rocket Sanders from Arkansas at running back. There's a North Texas running back we got. Nobody's talking about him. I saw him in person. I'm telling you, we'll know his name. I'm not going to say his name here because whenever we talk in football season, you're going to be like, who is this guy? He's going to come from nowhere, but he's from North Greenville University.
Okay.
And he's on
North
time.
Greenville, huh?
The one that you're going to South Carolina is going to depict on the offensive line. They did a great job in the transfer portal.
Yeah, just
The
like
biggest-
Deuce Wells,
the biggest-
Cleveland. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, the biggest thing is at wide receiver with us. I don't with transfer portal. We got some great guys, but they're all 6'1" and under. We don't have a big guy other than Nicholas Harbor, who was the #1 athlete a year ago. He's a track guy. If you watched him, I watched at-home ball games. He's not great on the receiver routes and stuff, but he's huge, so he out-athletes. Defensively, we should be decent again. We had some good stuff and takeaways and stuff this year, but I think South Carolina, I'm hoping that we win 8 ball games this year, and I hope that we smoke Oklahoma. Whoever plays Texas this year, we don't get them. Whoever's coming into the SEC, as an SEC group, I hope we agree that we should baptize Texas and Oklahoma into the Southeastern Conference. And I hope that they don't win a single ball game. And I hope Vanderbilt drops their nuts on them and drags it across their forehead. So
Vanderbilt. Whew.
yeah, well, we got to give them a bottom feeder, and I hope that they drag their nuts on them too, just so I can get. I'm so tired of hearing Texas, Oklahoma coming to the SEC going to throttle everybody. Somebody
well,
posted
Chase,
something.
Here's a spicy one for you. The first opponent that Oklahoma is gonna play in the SEC, guess who?
Tennessee.
Bum 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 bum. So you're gonna be cheering for us. You're gonna be singing Locky Top. You want a shirt, brother?
Listen,
Navin's gonna send you the shirt. You just gotta drop
man.
the address, bro.
The only reason, and I think we're all of age to talk about this, the only reason I will sing Locky Top for that first game, and I will, but it's going to be the slowed version because it sounds like it's chopped and screwed, which is my high school career. So as long as it does the slow Rocky Top, because the fast-paced one just feels like I'm getting excited. There it is.
Rocky
That shit's
Top.
tight.
That is fire. Yes.
I like that.
I'm a Sandstorm man, but that shit is on point. If you do the fast-paced one, I just feel like I'm going to get engaged to my first cousin, but we're not going to talk about it because we got different last names because we're kin on our mama's side. But if you do the slowed one,
I'm like,
there it is.
hello.
Come on. I like that.
All right. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna pass it off to Josh while he has the music playing. Chase has given us his prediction on South Carolina. What do you think South Carolina is gonna do?
He said 8-4, right?
Yeah, 8-4.
Well, first of all, I want to say Chase, that congratulations on that pick. But I also want to congratulate you on something really more important than that. And that's coaching search season, baby. Nobody likes a coaching search more than this guy because I've done it a lot at Tennessee, and you guys are going to do it a lot more at South Carolina because your program is just trash, especially after hiring Shane Beamer. You're probably going to be lucky enough to win 6 games this year. I mean, let's just look at South Carolina's schedule, right? We have Kentucky, LSU. I'm talking about league games. Kentucky, LSU. Loss. Ole Miss. Juice Wells is going to destroy you. Bama, take out back. Oklahoma. You might beat A&M. You might beat Vandy. Missouri's going to walk a dog in Maryland.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough, Chase. I don't know,
Clemson.
man. I have South Carolina going 7-5 or 6-6.
Clemson, baby. 3-9.
What you boy?
Hey, Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer gonna be unemployed
every year. Yeah, but that's what but all of y'all want to hang up crucifixes whenever Derek Dooley was there because he was the next man, and then y'all had to do beating through the brick wall because you're under Bruce Jones. Don't get loud, bud. We were here for all of it. You got Jeremy Pruitt who can throw for 500 yards and then give up 700 on defense. Don't get loud.
Chase, I gotta tell you, bro.
For 12 seconds and then we're back on defense.
You don't need to remind me of my dark days as a Tennessee fan.
Jeremy Pruitt was undefeated against South Carolina, by the way.
It's quite unfortunate because I started watching Tennessee football after the glory days. So
Butch Jones put Spurrier in retirement.
Kiffin, Dooley, Butch, Pruitt. So that's been my Tennessee fandom, which is like 12-15 years out of the last like 20 or so years that I've watched Tennessee. So hey, you don't need to preach it to me how shitty Butch was or Pruitt was or Dooley was. I get it. I watched that shit.
They still beat South Carolina.
Here's the biggest
but anyway.
Don't anyway. This is the biggest thing I try to put with Josh with Tennessee and South Carolina, right? Y'all go to your stadium, y'all see y'all's banners that y'all hung, right? You see it. All right.
How many you guys? Yeah, zero.
Exactly. We don't have
you won the ACC back in the 60s?
It's 1969. Watch your mouth. Hang your tongue. So here's what I'm trying to say. Tennessee every year has this blow up that we're going to win the SEC. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Jerry Pruitt, Nico. Dude ain't even took a snap. But according to what we hear on the archives, he's a 5-star guy and we're going to blow through it. I've heard you do that with a quarterback before. And then he played in the UFL later. So what I'm trying to say is that South Carolina and Tennessee,
there will not be any Bergen County, New Jersey slander on this podcast. Do you understand me?
Yeah, and I want to go back to your point about seeing your player that lives that plays pretty close from you, like 15 miles away. Guess what? Naveen and I, we had a quarterback that played about 5 miles away from where we live, and we thought, oh, this guy's a shit. Yeah, he's from here. We've seen him.
Naveen.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Talk to me about JG, baby.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the guy's gonna do here. I saw him in high school. He's great. I gotta watch him play in college. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You got to watch him play against the SEC to really
understand
how good he is.
I don't know.
I hope for 8-4, but truly, I don't know because the guys never took an SEC snap, really. Yeah. So I can't truly tell you. He might be Tim Tebow, or he might be.
Yeah, you just gotta specify. It's a college Tim Tebow or NFL Tim Tebow or the baseball Tim Tebow.
You can handle NFL team.
All right,
Naveen, what's South Carolina's record going to be?
I think realistically 6-6. That's what you can expect. But I do want to ask you guys, Andy and Josh. Let's go through the schedule. What are we going to be doing? You know,
what is Tennessee going to be doing?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Here comes the disillusion. We're going to be 11-1.
All right. August 31st, Chattanooga.
When?
September 7th, NC State.
Dub.
September 14th, Kent State.
Easy. In the bag.
Okay, first interesting one. We should all be there.
We will be.
At Oklahoma.
Chase, you can't be saying that we're going to lose here after saying Oklahoma's going to get their ass smacked playing the first SEC game. You just said Tennessee's going to beat them.
No, I didn't. I didn't say that. I said I'm cheering for y'all because I hope Oklahoma and Texas don't win a single SEC game.
All right.
But we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to start
Oklahoma. Bye week. October 5th, we got
bye week is a win.
Arkansas.
We're going to start off Hawaii 5-0, baby. 5-0. Let's go.
This is the one I'm deathly afraid of. October 12th versus Florida.
The Gators.
My fandom is on the line. If we fucking lose this game again, I'm done.
And
I'm
this
switching.
is
I'm
the
switching to
declaration,
Gamecocks, dude.
guys. This
If
is
we
the
lose this
declaration.
game, I'm switching to Gamecocks.
If we lose to Florida at home, Devin is giving up his Tennessee orange card,
It's over.
and I agree with him.
He's
I
gonna
agree
go.
with
He's
him.
gonna. He's gonna go.
I'm gonna lose to Florida so bad.
Listen, Naveen's gonna go down and have Sunday dinner the following day with Big Texas, his cousin, and I think he's gonna be donning a new color orange regularly.
Yeah, might have to call him Small Texas after that. But
Yeah.
I think honestly, if it were in Florida, I always worry about going down to the swamp. I've been to the swamp a couple of times. I know what the temperature, the humidity, the atmosphere is like. The way the sun shines on the away bench is crazy. I've seen reports that it's like 15 to 20 degrees hotter on the away side than the home team side. Obviously, you gotta figure out your home field advantage, and Florida figured it out. And if it were in Florida, I'd be really worried, but I'm not worried about Florida this year versus Tennessee in Tennessee, the state that Florida football is in right now, and how we're looking. But if it, I would agree with you. If
games.
it was in Florida, I think I write on L there. It's an automatic L.
All right. The following week we got Bama at home.
Roll damn Tide. We're gonna be 7-0.
Bama, come on, Bama without Saban.
Lock, baby.
Okay.
Just to again reiterate my Tennessee fandom. When I first came to America, this guy, Mr. Joshua Rickard, told me Alabama is an automatic dub that you mark on the calendar.
It was
every
at that
October,
time.
and it was at the time until the first year I really started watching football.
When we were in
this
college,
guy
our first
by
year
the
of
name
college.
of Nick Saban came along, and it hasn't been the same. But now that he's gone, I'm not worried about Alabama.
And I'm telling you, Kellen DeBoard, he don't want none of his South Dakota brethren, Josh Heupel. I'm telling you, Josh Heupel is coming for that ass, Kellen DeBoard, and he's just trying to copycat his offense. It's not going to happen. There's only going to be one high flyer, and that's going to be Big Josh.
So you guys are going apparently 7-0 through October.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a second bye week. Then we got Kentucky. I'll go ahead and say that's a dub.
Oh yeah, time's a flat surface.
Mississippi State
Dub.
Okay, all right. This is the realism check.
Here we go.
At Georgia. At Georgia.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a big L on that one.
Okay.
You can't.
Is how
you can't say you're going to do it until you do it, and we've not beat Kirby since 2016.
Yeah, this is where you could have done a quick check to see if Josh was full of shit or not. If he would have said W here, I think Chase, you could have called him out and saying like, "Oh, you guys always say Tennessee's gonna win," but see, he gave a realistic answer.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine because usually Tennessee has shown they're usually like 9-1 by the week 10. So yeah. Continue. Yeah. Y'all have to continue.
Last two, we got our UTEP and Vanderbilt, which should be both
blocks.
Double dub. All right, so
So
11-1. Here we go.
Close out 11-1, going into the 12-team playoff.
Okay, cool.
All right. So to wrap up the pod, here are our best bets of the weekend. What's funny this week is that we started this pod recording pretty later than usual, almost hour and a half, and even still, a lot of the lines were not available at the beginning of the pod. So there were a lot of games that we're looking forward to seeing what the line looked like. I guess we could add here that we all sort of kind of agreed that Tennessee's gonna win here, so I guess I'll add that here as the official pick.
Lock of the week, baby. That's my lock of the week.
Yeah, it's just like crazy that a lot of these games they just don't have the lines available. So that being said, we think Creighton -3.5, Kansas going up against Baylor. Creighton is against Marquette, so Creighton, Marquette. And this is Naveen and I both actually agree on this pick. I think generally speaking, when for me, it's like a system. Whenever the lower ranked team's at home and they're the favorite over the higher ranked team, I just tend to take them because I think the home field advantage in college basketball is crazy. Kansas +4.5 against Baylor. For hockey, unfortunately, Frank couldn't make it, but Jets and Hurricanes under 5.5. And personally, I would say, typically from what I've seen in hockey, 6.5 seems to be the standard for over and under. So this is like pretty low, like a whole goal, right? Like it's not even 6 flat, it's 5.5. And whenever like lines are like this, we think that, you just take the extreme, like, because a lot of people are going to tend to think, oh, 5.5, that's easy. That's
It's like Steelers Pats over under 36. Like
you take the under and it's 10-7. Exactly. Or the opposite would be like picking like a Pacers Hawks in NBA, and you see the line that's like 255, and you're just thinking 255, they're gonna score like 130 to 125. No way. But that's how the games are gonna go. So we think the under here is good. And lastly, I think all of us participants agreed that likely Tennessee is gonna come out with a dub against Alabama. That'll be the game of the week.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I feel like I've watched Tennessee Saturday, ESPN at 7 o'clock slot, like 4 or 5 weekends in a row. And honestly, that's a pretty good place to be. That's a good place to be. Like, the fact that they're actually establishing themselves as a powerhouse, even though we haven't done anything significant for March Madness yet, hopefully this year. But at least I like seeing them at primetime slot. It's a luxury that I've not been able to enjoy. It's almost like seeing your game in football on CBS finally at 3:30 instead of the 12 o'clock SEC network kickoff.
Yeah. College game day going to be in Tuscaloosa tomorrow, fellas. Simply the best. All right. So that's our picks, guys. Again, like Andrew talked about a little bit earlier, our man Frankie couldn't put it on ice for us tonight, but he did send in our pick. But we did have a great show tonight, guys. I know we went a little bit longer, and we got a little bit started behind time. That was my fault. So I want to apologize for the people that were going to tune in and try to download the pod at 8 o'clock tonight. That's on me, and you can blame my unruly kids not want to go to bed on time, but blame them, not me. But I do want to give a shout out to Mr. Chase Cox for coming on to the show. It's not easy coming on with a curmudgeon like myself that, is a doting Tennessee fan and, is halfway in touch with reality when it comes to talking about college basketball and football. But he's a good sport, and we love the guy when he comes on, and he gives us a lot of good content. So, Chase, we're going to obviously invite you back a few more times down the road, and thank you for your continued support. And
Wednesday,
yeah, that's a good tease.
Wednesday for a reaction show, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, are we not doing it? I just want to make sure before you sign me off. Wednesday night we got Saturday, but Wednesday night we have Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all three of you picked Tennessee over South Carolina, and that's your betting odds, Tennessee over South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
What are you confused about?
I'm not confused about any of
No, he just wants to collect receipts. It's like a...
receipts.
Andrew knows what I'm saying.
It's a CVS. It's a long motherfucker right there, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Chase, man. This is like looking at the ATM receipts after a rough night out at a casino, and you're just looking at the ATM receipts like, oh my god, I paid this much money to withdraw money. Yeah. Like, there's no point in counting it.
Cash
so
advance.
I'm gonna tell you right now, no need to collect receipts. We're not even gonna worry about it. I'm going to actually go easy on you next Wednesday. I'm going to be like really, really nice to you. Very gentle, very polite. Just because, we don't want to go dog on you, 3-on-1, but looking forward to it, man.
Andrew, I just want to tell you, on Wednesday, there's no lube. I just want you to listen to Ice Cube before I get there. It will be done there. I'm just telling you, I'm going all the way.
All right, brother. We look forward to having you again on the pod. Thanks for joining us. I know, it's probably not easy to hop on and just kind of go with the opposing team's pod for an hour. So, props to you, man. Thanks to brother.
But it makes it fun. It makes it fun.
I appreciate you having me on. Man. I've been with Josh since 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Been with me.
Yeah.
I like that. been with me
Yeah,
since
I've
11.
been with you.
Yeah, man. Dude, I know. I feel
Okay,
sorry
look.
for you, bro. I've known this guy for a long time too. So
I've known
it's
Andrew since
difficult.
04. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. We've been recently talking about our viewership across different platforms. TikTok is the definitely where we have the most exposure, but Instagram and YouTube and X, we're getting a lot of exposures and engagements as well. So we want to thank you for it. It will come back Saturday night after Alabama. Hopefully, it's gonna be a nice Dixieland
down
delight. Tennessee byway Saturday night. So tune in for that, and then come Wednesday, tune in to watch this guy Chase Cox get dogged by 3 volunteers talking shit. So look forward for that. So it's Saturday at 9 p.m. and then Wednesday at 9 p.m. I'll see you guys. Lock it up out.
Lock the top.
Tennessee,
Later.
what?